far as I've studied and looked into this, is the only place where what the Pioneer 10 probes 10 and 11 found is ever contained in a diagram. The rest of everything was lost. They called it a dead star, and it was located 50 billion miles from our solar system in 1983. Now, why is it called a dead star? Well, this is going to get into our understanding of the true history of our solar system that we haven't been taught. When we look at data from other solar systems, we find that the common theme is that about 80% of all solar systems are binary, and often trinary, means they have at least 2, if not 3 stars within them. Now, when we look at ours, we're told that we only have 1 star, known as our sun. But yet, the Pioneer probes found something else completely different than that. And that, to me, is probably the greatest secret that's been kept from us. Because think about it for a moment. NASA came out with the announcement in the 1990s describing how there was a planet beyond the Kuiper Belt, and they openly announced that, and then everything went dead. That tells us a lot, because it means that they didn't know that that binary companion was out there. And once they discovered it, they realized it was part of this entire cycle. To me, it's the same thing as if they knew that a comet or an asteroid was headed to Earth. All that information would be covered up and hidden because they wouldn't want mass panic. I believe that this is the exact same thing as that, where they figured out that there's this object out there, this dead star that they identified, and the way they were able to identify that is through the signature of the star. And they found that that dead star is part of this entire cycle with our solar system and sun. Now, what kind of cycle are we talking about? What we find when we look at data from this dead star is that it has a complete rotation of about 13,000 years, which would exactly line up to these 13,000-year events. As this dead star approaches our sun, as it gets closest, it's known as perihelion, and as it goes farther away, it's known as aphelion, and that's part of a great cycle in the dance between our 2 stars. Now, this dead star was identified as a dead star because of the signature that it presented on the Pioneer probes. They were actually engineered to be able to go out and find an object that was extremely dark and hard to see. That's why it was initially equipped with that technology to find planets, because planets are extremely difficult to see because they're not lit up. But instead, they also found an object that was dark as well. Now, this star, called a dead star in the 1987 Science and Invention Encyclopedia, was called a dead star because of the way they identified the signature of it. It means that it once was a star like our sun, and it either had a supernova or somehow exploded in a way where it became a smaller object but with extreme high density. Similar to in the way where you'd see a star collapse to turn into a black hole. But in this case, it didn't. It just remained as what is known in some circles in ancient studies as a dead star or a dark star. That's actually been referred in several areas. One of the best places we can find that is the Celtic and Egyptian book known as the Cobran Bible. And in that, it